So why did Henry VIII never consider marrying Bessie Blount and legitimize his bastard son, Henry Fitzroy? Wonderful, wonderful question, and one that I'm actually currently researching as I'm writing my book on Henry Fitzroy. So firstly, Bessie Blount was Henry VIII's mistress while he was still married to Catherine of Aragon. It is said that she is potentially his favorite mistress because she's the one who gave him a son in a time that he was not sure that he could ever have a son, because Catherine of Aragon had experienced multiple miscarriages, stillbirths, and of course their son died at 52 days old. But Bessie went on to have a healthy boy child, and this was a big thing. Henry Fitzroy was born in 1519, and this is 10 years after he married Catherine of Aragon. During this time, he did not consider marrying Bessie, even though she was single at the time, because Henry VIII was not yet in that mindset. Ironically, in the 1510s, he'd been titled as Defender of the Faith by the Pope, because Martin Luther came out with the idea of Reformation, and Henry VIII was so against the Reformation and such a staunch Catholic that he wrote against the Reformation, and the Pope praised him for this. So he was not yet considering annulment, Reformation. He was still very much happy in his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, despite the fact that they had not yet had a son. He totally used Henry Fitzroy's birth against Catherine of Aragon, basically saying, here's the proof that I can have healthy sons and it's your fault that we don't. But other than that, he was not considering getting rid of Catherine in pursuit of Bessie. After Henry Fitzroy's birth, Henry VIII and Bessie Blount continued their relationship, and he actually had another child by Bessie, this time a girl, who he did not claim as his own, because what would be the point? The girl, Elizabeth, was born in 1520, and this is when arrangements for Bessie's marriage began. It was arranged that Bessie would marry a man called Gilbert Talboys, and he was part of Thomas Wolsey's household, and they were married in 1522. By all accounts, Gilbert was a good man, but sadly he died in 1530. And this is when Bessie was once again free to marry. So then why didn't Henry VIII marry her? Because at this point in 1530, he was very much trying to get rid of Catherine of Aragon. He was in that mindset of, she's not my wife, I need a new wife. But let's not forget, at this point, he was very much obsessed with the idea of Anne Boleyn. Apparently, the idea that he marry Bessie Blount instead of Anne was put forward because Bessie had already proven that she was not only fertile, but also able to give the king sons, since she'd given Henry a son as well as Gilbert 2 sons. Whereas Anne Boleyn, she'd had no past record. He had never even bedded her. He didn't know if she was even fertile. Henry VIII could have married his former mistress Bessie Blount and legitimized Henry Fitzroy, as well as potentially had more sons by her. This had been done before, which actually led to the Tudor line, because John of Gaunt married his mistress and legitimized his children by her, the Beauforts. The Beauforts were not allowed to inherit the throne, but their line led to Margaret Beaufort birthing Henry VII, and that's the beginning of the Tudor dynasty. So Henry VIII knew that it had all been done before, but the Pope might have agreed to their marriage and to the legitimization of Henry Fitzroy, but he may not have allowed him to inherit the throne, just like he didn't allow John of Gaunt's children by his mistress to inherit the throne. But I do believe that the main reason he never went for that idea was he was too obsessed with Anne Boleyn. And let's not forget that in 1530, when Bessie became available, Catherine of Aragon was still very much alive. He wasn't able to marry anybody else yet. He was still married to Catherine of Aragon. So he continued his pursuit of the annulment, and in the end just simply chose to continue pursuing Anne instead of Bessie.